is back. Zac is back. And Ryan just beat the buzzer.
Wow.
He is back. And so is the DNVR Broncos Podcast. What's up, fellas?
Not much. I literally was in a meeting 14 seconds ago.
Yep, we got Yahir said we're going live, which means we got a 60-second countdown. 1 second after he said we're going live, you texted me and said, I can come down soon. I said, you got 60 seconds. Let's go.
Let's go. I made it. How you guys doing?
Man, I'm doing fantastic.
I think I might get that golf video game today.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Oh,
I have a slightly more important video game today.
the
that's
Madden
right. That's
Championship.
right.
Madden Super Bowl, Broncos, Falcons, Super Bowl 33 rematch.
Wow.
I'm feeling good about it. I woke up this morning. I watched the highlights from Super Bowl 33.
Wow.
And like the NFL Films voice was like, the Broncos dominated the Falcons to complete their season-long goal. And I was just like, yeah, that.
Wow.
So what was
That
it?
feels
What
good.
was the score of that Super Bowl?
33-19, I think.
Are you going to? So you've got to cover 14 points. Can you win by 14 and a half or more?
Yeah, I can do anything.
Oh, wow.
Wow, not just cocky about getting the dub, cocky about covering a 2-touchdown spread.
Just win, baby. That's all I care about.
Don't say that. That's Raiders.
Yeah, whatever.
It really is
No,
Raiders.
you can't say that one.
More stuff, more drama coming out about why the relationship between Darren Waller and Josh McDaniels was splintered even more. So,
Love
of course,
that.
it's more of the Josh wasn't invited to Darren Waller's wedding a couple of days before he was traded.
So that was real. Like that
I think
drama
so.
was real.
I think so.
Oh man, that's awesome.
It's just embarrassing.
I mean,
Like,
this
it's-
stuff follows Josh McDaniels
It
wherever
does.
he goes.
Yeah, it's all he does. Is just create dumb, weird little drama.
All he does is not win.
That is true.
Yeah, losing record. He's 2 for 2.
Just lose, baby.
Just lose, baby.
That might be Mark Davis's new
Maybe.
slogan.
Yeah, man, it's hard to imagine that team like being very good.
But I mean, here's the thing, though. They got the quarterback that just wins. That's literally all he does. I mean, he throws interceptions. He doesn't throw for like 300 yards ever. He doesn't blow you away with stats. All he does is win. So I guess he's like the only part of that team that fits that slogan.
And I mean,
Just not against Russell Wilson.
That's true.
Wow.
That's true. Man, does he have like more losses against Russell Wilson than like the rest of the NFL combined?
It might be. I mean, not that drastic, but like I'm pretty sure he's like 1-7 against Russ or something crazy.
Wow.
Like
If
that.
that's the case, he honestly might have more losses against Russ than any other team, than every other team combined.
Fair enough.
wow. It is, let's see. I forgot what I was going to say. Oh, but the Raiders, like what? They have the NFL's leading rusher from last year.
Yep.
They also have Devontae Adams.
Yep.
You would think the offense would be good at the very least.
You would.
Then,
Yep.
like, defense, like, there's a bunch of question marks, but you got, like, Max Crosby.
There's talent.
Yeah, but I still, like, how are they going to win more than, like, 6 games?
Again, if Jimmy Garoppolo is just that guy.
Yeah. He's not, though.
Yeah,
He's definitely not.
I agree. I don't think he is either. Are you looking it up, Ryan?
Dude, I hate these things. It always looks like it's so easy to Google this stuff, and then something comes up. It's like Jimmy Garoppolo versus Russell Wilson head-to-head record. You click it, it
yeah.
just doesn't tell you.
Of course.
Oh,
of
yeah.
course it doesn't.
You're on StatMuse.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
How have they schemed the SEO like that?
I don't know, but they do really great stuff. It just
doesn't sound
occasionally
like it.
like that exact thing. Like, yeah, that's the one place that has that exact thing.
They have a way to make it so no matter what you search, their thing will come up as if they have a page that tells you that answer.
and
And it doesn't have that answer.
and it's not there. And as Jose or Alex actually mentioned, Jimmy Garoppolo didn't win the last time he played the Broncos. In fact, Jimmy Garoppolo didn't even score 10 points. Wasn't that 11 to no? Was it 11 to 10 or was it 11 to 9?
Oh man, you're
All
testing
these
me.
low
But if it
scoring
was
games get
either
me.
way, if it was either of those scores, Jimmy won the game for the Broncos with that safety.
You're
Wow.
certainly right. He did.
I don't know.
Presented by DraftKings Sports.
There we go. Use that promo code DNVR when you sign up.
Anyways, random Raiders talk, but
Very random
That's
Raiders talk. We're going to have some not so random 49ers talk coming up in a minute. We've got a special guest joining us in just a minute to talk about Mike McGlinchey.
Yes, that is going to be a fun conversation because I think, well, I guess we'll find out. My hypothesis is that those who know ball liked Mike McGlinchey in San Francisco, and those who don't know ball didn't.
Well,
that would be nice.
And I think there's a big reason why the people that don't know ball don't think he's very good is Mike McGlinchey. It's tough to have highlight packages of offensive linemen, and it's also pretty tough to have low light packages of offensive linemen. But with Mike McGlinchey, there is a low light package that, continues to circulate or, will occasionally come back up because he is so tall and he's very athletic, which means he's kind of skinny, that he will occasionally get thrown around. If a tall guy doesn't always have perfect positioning, it's going to be easy for a guy that's much shorter and strong to pick him up and kind of just throw him around. And you saw that happen with him occasionally. So that's why I think casual fans who see that stuff on Twitter will say, oh man, what are they getting? They're getting just a goofball in here. Yeah. But those don't happen all the time. And when those don't happen, he's a really solid offensive lineman.
A low light package sounds like something that girls get sent in their DMs unsolicited.
Wow. Yeah, it's very true.
Wow.
But it's true. And again, if you see your right tackle getting like hip tossed, it's gonna, change your feelings on him, especially if that's a high first round pick,
right?
That has, insane expectations. So, let's do it. Let's talk to our guest here.
Well, let's bring him in right now. We've got San Francisco 49ers insider Matt Barrows joining us. He works for The Athletic. And Matt, before we talk about Mike McGlinchey and the 49ers, you dropped a great piece over at The Athletic today talking about Vernon Davis. And it wasn't talking about Vernon Davis.
Broncos legend.
Yeah, it wasn't talking about Vernon Davis being a great 49ers tight end. It wasn't talking about Super Bowl 50 Denver Broncos champion with the Broncos. And it wasn't talking about Vernon Davis becoming a head coach in the NFL or something like that. It was talking about Vernon Davis playing a serial killer in a movie with Morgan Freeman that's coming out.
Wow.
Matt, did you ever expect to write this story?
No, I did not. Certainly not opposite Morgan Freeman. I know that Vernon has wanted to get into acting for a long while and actually had dabbled in it when he was with the 49ers. And I was surprised because I knew about that and I knew he's been doing this and that, but he's been in 17 movies.
Wow.
The majority of them after he left Washington, and that was only a couple of years ago. So he's been very prolific, and he's actually getting ready for a second movie opposite Morgan Freeman. This one is probably going to get him a lot more screen time with Morgan Freeman than The Ritual Killer, which is the story the film that I wrote about. So he's making good on his promise to himself to become an actor.
Well, I had no idea the number was 17 movies. That's incredible. So everyone's got to go check out that because it's just such a unique story. You typically don't hear about football players going on to become actors.
Well, isn't that the thing though? Like, football players want to be actors, actors want to be football players, rappers want to be basketball players, and football players want to be rappers. Like, everyone wants to be what they aren't.
Yeah, and he's doing it both.
Respect. All right, so let's get into Mike McGlinchey.
Yeah.
I'm curious if you agree with my hypothesis here, which was essentially that he got a bad rap, and Zach maybe said it's because of some of the low light plays, but that he was better than maybe the fans gave him credit for.
Yes, I think that's absolutely true. One of the things that was going against him is that he's playing opposite Trent Williams, who's a future NFL Hall of Famer, Pro Football Hall of Famer. So there's a sharp contrast there. I just think that, Mike McGlinchey was so much better than every other team's number 2 tackle. And was he as good as the 49ers' number 1 tackle? Was he as good as other teams' number 1 tackle? Probably not. But in terms of, his role on the team, and what he was asked to do, he was good to very good. He's a very good run blocker, and for Kyle Shanahan, and I'm assuming for Sean Payton, that's a huge part of the equation. and that's what they liked about him the most. Where he struggled, and sometimes at the end of games, and so that sort of exacerbated the issues, was in pass protection. But I feel like he's gotten better at that. He was struggling to find the right weight at which to play for a few seasons, and it's something that NFL tackles sometimes deal with. I mean, Joe Staley, for example, got up to like 315 pounds early in his career with the 49ers, and then decided, you know what, I don't need to be that weight. And by the end of his career, he was around 290. So these guys need to sort of figure that out. And my point is that I feel like Mike McGlinchey has figured that out. So he sort of did the experimenting thing with the 49ers, and then the Broncos are going to kind of be the beneficiaries of him having done that.
He also had the injury. I think that would have been like halfway through the 2021 season. But that was after he put on a bunch of weight, right? That they tore his quad and then had to recover that whole offseason and try to get back to playing shape in time for last year?
That's right. He felt like he was getting bull rushed too much, I believe, in the 2020 season, and that he just needed more mass, more bulk to brace himself against that, and then, got heavier. I mean, concerted effort to add weight to get to that kind of 310, 315 level, and then he suffered that quad injury, and that's a big injury. And the fact that he was able to come back from that this past season and play the full season, I mean, you have to ask Mike this, but I got the sense that was a big deal for him, that he was able to get healthy, able to play every game, and do so in advance of his free agency. But that was not a small injury that he dealt with.
And speaking of Mike hitting free agency, Kyle Shanahan talked at the owners' meetings of the reason why they weren't able to keep Mike on the team and why he left for Denver was because he just outplayed what the 49ers could pay him. And I totally understand the 49ers have so many big contracts coming up and already on the books. But sometimes coaches take kind of the nice route in talking about players and say those things about him. Was that the reason why he's no longer in the 49ers, or were there other reasons why maybe the 49ers were skeptical of keeping him?
No, I mean, the price point is absolutely the biggest reason. I mean, if he was as good as Trent Williams, they would have had to make a decision. Like I said earlier, Trent Williams is in a separate category among offensive tackles. And you just hit on it. I mean, they've got not only Trent Williams making, at the top or close to the top of what offensive tackles make, but George Kittle is up there at his position. Deebo Samuel's up there at his position. Nick Bosa is going to be up there at his position. Yep. Fred Warner at middle linebacker, et cetera, et cetera. They just have a lot of mouths to feed. But yeah, I think if the price point were more reasonable, they definitely would have kept him. They really liked Mike McGlinchey. There's a big dichotomy between what the fans thought of him and what the organization thought of him. And I think the 49ers, landed on the side of, okay, he's not, a perennial Pro Bowler, but he's very good, and we're lucky to have him as the number 2 tackle.
Is that a classic case of draft position causing a guy to, have higher expectations within the fans?
Yeah, I think that for sure. And, to be honest, I mean, there were some plays, and I forget which season it was, might have been 2020, where at critical points, McGlinchey was letting up pressures or sacks. And there was a string of games, I think it was early in 2020, where this happened. And this sort of kind of led to his, trying to sort out his weight and all that other stuff. And like I said, I feel like that was a crossing point in his career, and now he's on the other side of it, and that the Broncos will benefit from it. But yeah, I mean, it wasn't always pretty with him. So there's that. But top 10 pick, you expect a lot out of it. It also sort of underscores the point that offensive tackles are not growing on trees in the NFL.
Yeah.
The 49ers would love to take one this year. They don't have a first-round pick. They don't have a second-round pick. They don't pick until pick number 99, which is compensatory of the in the third round. So that's it's one of those big ticket items that if you have a top 10 pick and you don't need a quarterback, you're looking at offensive tackle because it takes a top 10 pick to bring in a really good one.
Were you surprised at all at the contract that he got, or was that about what you expected?
No, I mean, it was right in line with what everybody thought, which is why the 49ers, basically knew that he'd be gone. Like I said, very few offensive tackles out there. So if you're a good one, you're going to get a lot of attention, and that happened, I think, very quickly for Mike and the Broncos.
And Matt, when you're talking about the Broncos fans kind of view the 49ers as maybe their NFC team because there's so many connections there. Obviously, Kyle Shanahan growing up in Colorado, with Mike's doing some work with them occasionally. Also
John
now,
Lynch connection.
Yep, John Lynch, Christian McCaffrey now with the 49ers. So Broncos fans in general just kind of like to follow the 49ers more than I think other teams. And the 49ers may just be the most interesting team in the NFL with all the talent that we've talked about. But then the quarterback position, you've seen flashes from some guys. They have the number 3 overall pick. I mean, can you just kind of give us an update of where the 49ers are? The expectations Super Bowl or bust this year? Who's going to be their starting quarterback?
Yeah, it is Super Bowl or bust. And the question about their starting quarterback is a really good one. They're going about it basically the opposite of most teams. Most teams put all their big bucks into the quarterback and then, try to kind of dress the team around that player. The 49ers, as I just mentioned, have a lot of dollars spent elsewhere, and they've got a cheap quarterback room because 2 of those quarterbacks are on their rookie contracts, and the third, Sam Darnold, is signed a very modest, for a quarterback, free agency deal. So, I think if everyone were healthy, it would be a no-brainer just because Brock Purdy was so good at the end of the season. He has yet to lose a game in which he's healthy throughout the whole game, the one loss being in the NFC Championship game. So, but his health is a question mark. I mean, he has a very serious elbow injury that is going to continue to keep him out of practices right up until the start of the regular season. So, there's a chance he goes on PUP. There's a chance that he's almost ready to start the year, but can't. And in that scenario, my guess is that Trey Lance would be the starter. And then the 49ers would have a conundrum if Lance gets off to a hot start. I mean, it's very hard to take a quarterback who's on a roll out of the game or out of the lineup. And so that would be sort of the issue if Purdy comes off a PUP in week 4. Lance is 4-0. I mean, this is very idealistic. These are problems that I think a lot of teams would love to have, but that's sort of where things stand right now. There's a lot of murkiness about, especially in the beginning of the season, who's going to be under center.
Well, Matt, we'll be following you for all of that information. Everyone, go give him a follow on Twitter. Also, check him out at The Athletic. Matt, we really appreciate your insight. Great stuff on McGlinchey and Vernon Davis, the movie actor. Thanks so much for being on, Matt.
Thanks for having me on, guys.
Thank you.
See ya.
And there we go. Man, some great insight, great information from Matt there.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm glad that he confirmed my hypothesis.
Yep. And then he circled back to it, too, later.
Yeah. And it was... You got that feeling like whenever Twitter is really at a guy's throat and then he gets that much money, there's very clearly a imbalance in between the way football people see a guy and the way that fans see a guy. But that was really, valuable insight from Matt. And I want to get back to the Broncos stuff, but I can't wrap my mind around the idea of being Super Bowl or bust and not having a quarterback. It's a terrible place for Kyle Shanahan to be.
And then on top of that, it's so funny, and Matt's right, but it's just so funny hearing him say it, that the number 3 overall pick is going to have to play extremely well out of the gate in order to unseat the former rookie who was Mr. Irrelevant. I mean, just what a crazy place to be.
Yeah,
they're either in a great place or a terrible place, right?
What's funny about Brock Purdy is it's similar to what we were just talking about with Mike McGlinchey, where like he had some really great moments in college, And then he had like some of the most embarrassing, boneheaded throws that made it on like low light reels. There's one where he like throws a ball backwards to a defender. And they just like walk in for a pick six.
So it was almost like Jacoby Myers with with New England.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
And then it just like goes right into a corner's hands. He's like,
no.
all right.
At least with Jacoby, he gets the excuse of like, well, it was a weird play. He's a wide receiver. The quarterback doing that.
Yeah, but he didn't show any of that boneheadedness when he was out there last year. I just can't. For me, Super Bowl or bust means there's consequences if it doesn't happen. Is that how you feel?
Yeah. Well, not necessarily consequences like someone's getting fired, but it will be viewed as a disappointment.
So for me, it means something's got to happen. And that doesn't mean Kyle Shanahan's getting fired or whatever, but like it's like Super Bowl or we're going to reapproach our thought process here.
So trying to think about it with a different team, the Chiefs are obviously Super Bowl or bust this year. But what happens if they don't win? See, I don't think anything's
Super Bowl
happened.
or bust, in my opinion.
I feel like
Really?
they definitely are.
Like,
Yeah, I feel like
Yeah,
for
they're
sure
the
are.
definition of it.
no, because in my opinion, there's no consequence. Like they've already earned it. They have their. It's like what I said about John Elway after the Broncos won Super Bowl 50. I was like, well, now he has 5 years of leeway.
See, I think there's a different word or phrase
Yeah.
for what you're saying,
Okay.
and it fits different teams. Because
I know what you're saying, though.
and I know
Obviously,
what you're saying.
the Chiefs, nothing less than a Super Bowl
Yeah.
will be a success, really, for like from here on out
Yeah,
for a while.
Yeah. Well, what is interesting with Kyle Shanahan is that's one thing that he's missing. He's viewed as this fantastic coach, and he's clearly a fantastic coach, a great mind, has put together a great defense as well as offense, knows how to evaluate talent, but no ring.
Yeah.
No ring yet. And so how great is he? He's still really good, but in terms of when you take a step back and look at his legacy, without a ring, I mean, he's just a great offensive mind right now.
The good
He's
news is he's
literally-
only 43.
Yeah,
So there's plenty of time to write
but
a legacy.
he doesn't have it yet.
Yeah, it
He's
doesn't matter.
Literally on the Andy Reid track, almost mirror images of each other in the early set of their career. Andy Reid gets gifted, the best quarterback in the league, and he starts winning Super Bowls. Now everyone's like, "Oh my God, Andy Reid's one of the greatest coaches of all time."
You know, Andy Reid has been a coach for 24 seasons. You know how many losing seasons he has?
Very few.
And he's only had Patrick Mahomes for 5 seasons. So 19 seasons without Patrick Mahomes.
I'm gonna say 2.
3?
3.
Wow.
21 seasons where he does not have a losing season. You know his worst record with Patrick Mahomes in the past 5 seasons?
12.
12 wins.
Yeah.
12
Yeah.
wins is his worst.
But I mean,
My worst would have been 10.
Yeah, I was gonna say like. What my point
But
is,
what I'm saying
Kyle
is
hasn't
when he
had the
gets-
quarterback yet. When you
Oh,
get the
yeah.
quarterback, all of a sudden you break through and it's really easy.
Well,
and
but,
that's
but,
what.
but also to compare with Andy Reid, though, Kyle Shanahan's had at least 2 losing seasons in, 7 years now? Andy Reid's had 3 in 24.
Yeah,
But he also had a much better quarterback situation. He was dealing with Donovan McNabb.
true.
Yeah, I guess we'll have to see how good Jimmy Garoppolo is without him. Because Jimmy Garoppolo, all he did was win before he went to San Francisco, too.
For
Getting
sure.
back to the start, though, like, they absolutely are Super Bowl or bust.
Yeah.
Like, if they don't win the Super Bowl, it is a disappointment at this point, which is crazy because they don't have a quarterback.
I don't think that's fair.
But, I mean, it is the fans have to be disappointed. Like, they've been in the conference championship game
I know.
each last 2 years. 2 years before that, they were in the Super Bowl.
On top of that, we know Kyle Shanahan has a lot of input with personnel, specifically on the offensive side, specifically at quarterback. They traded 3 first-round picks in order to go get Trey Lance.
Yep.
So I do think that he doesn't get like a pass because he doesn't have a quarterback. He has the number 3 overall pick in the draft. And if somehow he gets so lucky...
But he wanted
that-
Mac Jones.
He wanted Mac Jones, exactly.
Well, do we know that? Like,
Yeah. I
was he the one that changed his mind, though, or did John Lynch? Because I think at the end of the day, Kyle Shanahan's making that pick.
I think that's the problem is that
Kyle
he didn't.
Shanahan hired John Lynch. They hired Kyle Shanahan, and then he hired John Lynch.
Yeah.
I think the power dynamic is pretty clear that it runs through Kyle.
I thought the way it was reported was that Kyle wanted, and then it
Initially-
went to like
initially.
Even last
He
year,
wanted
it
him.
still reported that.
But at
I
the
was just
end,
looking.
because all I've heard was initially he wanted Mac Jones when they
And then
made
they
the trade,
changed
and
their
then
mind.
something changed.
All right, let's work our way back to the Broncos here.
Yeah.
But first,
First, we got to tell you about our friends over at Fubo TV. If you've been watching too many low-light videos just on Twitter and Instagram, well, it means you need to actually watch TV and watch the full set of things that's going on. And if you want to watch the Nuggets in the playoffs, the Avs in the playoffs, starting this Sunday night with the Nuggets, get over to FuboTV.com/DNVR. It's going to get you all the Nuggets and Avs playoffs games, as well as, of course, you can get the Broncos games on there. And you're going to get 15% off when you sign up using that promo code DNVR when you go to FuboTV.com/DNVR. 15% off, and Fubo's great. Over 140 channels. They've got all the sports you can need. So there's no messing around, no contract, no cable, no joining fee. You just sign up and start watching. FuboTV.com/DNVR.
speaking of all the sports you could want, Volo Sports.
Yes.
I legitimately want to play in all the Volo leagues.
Wow.
But I'm going to have to pick and choose. We're already signed up for the bowling league. I kind of want to get in another one. I just there's so many options. It's hard to know which sport to join. Like, I love me some beer league softball.
Yep.
Vote was in like the championship of the cornhole league, which sounds so fun.
Makes me think the league is winnable.
Oh, wow.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
You talk so much trash. So
I will
does
say-
Ryan.
Vote
You
in
too.
cornhole.
I will say I saw a highlight of the championship game. The boards were not regulation distance. And
Really?
Vote was like,
Shorter?
yeah, it kind of changes every week. I was like, dang, it's
Wow.
like baseball. Like,
Wow.
you never know. You go into a new park and
I feel like that makes it more difficult.
yeah,
You can't practice at home as much.
totally.
Do you see those tweets of like weird high school baseball fields?
No.
I love those.
Oh.
Because like a lot of them, like it's not Coors Field where it's like, oh, we got to get this thing perfect. It's like, oh, we have this much space. So it's be like a big cut into center field
Oh
because it's like
my
the
gosh.
corner of like the science building or something. They're incredible. Or like
That's
it'll be like
wild.
200 feet to like right field because there's like a parking lot there or something. Then like 400 this way. Some are just like massive because they'll be like combined with a football field.
Oh, yeah.
So there's one
So
that
there's
like
no fence.
yeah, so it's like it goes around, but then in the middle it's just like another 50 yards because it has to get to the end of the field. They're
Damn.
crazy.
I mean, the Houston Astros literally put a hill in their stadium for a long time.
That is it no longer there?
No, they got rid of it, thankfully.
Recently?
5 years?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was dangerous.
Yes, that was one of the dumbest things ever.
Yeah.
All right. Anyways, Volo Sports, get over, sign up for all of their leagues. They have something for everyone. And spring league signups close today. So today is your last day to get in on the spring league signups. And use the code DNVR10 to save $10 on your registration. Like we said, we are playing in the Cherry Creek Bowling League on Mondays. Get in. Get in. Today's the last day.
Hank just
Yep.
pulled one up. Right field's like a nice 300 feet. Left field is like 650 feet because there literally
It's
is like a
crazy.
football field attached to it.
Yeah, or like this one that just has to like the fence goes in around the track.
Oh my
It's the,
God.
it's the opposite of
Yeah.
a fence where it
It
like
is.
curves. It does the curvage the other way.
Wow. that is
Also,
wild.
when I saw that we had a Volo read, I was like, wait. I was just thinking about Volo. What was going on? And so I think I had a dream about Volo. I was like, what was happening? Why is it?
Wow.
Turns out I just saw our sign on that door down there yesterday.
Wow. This
and that's
is a
what I was
real look
flashing back
inside
to.
the mind
Wow.
of Henry.
Yeah. Yeah. That
All
was a
right.
dream. It was just a sign down there.
I want to circle back to Mike McGlinchey. After that interview, do you feel better or worse about the Broncos signing Mike McGlinchey?
Better.
Yep.
Yep.
Certainly better because it's what we thought, Ryan, and I had been on the same wavelength as you that Mike was a better player than just the casual fan thought. But to hear it from someone that's watched him the moment the 49ers drafted him just makes it feel so much better. And I knew from talking to people that the 49ers really liked him, but Matt's obviously way more connected, and the 49ers truly did love him.
I didn't think that he was going to come on and say, yeah, I can't believe that the Broncos gave him that deal. Like, it's pretty crazy that it happened. Like,
There's a 10% chance.
there
that he
was
did.
there was a chance.
10%. I mean, sometimes when players leave, it's because they're not good.
Yep. I have a great follow up for this, but you feel better?
I feel better, but I also, like, it's kind of what I expected.
Yeah.
Like, I don't feel a lot better because I didn't think
fair.
he was going to come in and just have the flamethrower.
That's fair.
Okay. A little role play.
Okay.
I am
Are we in Henry's dream?
Brian
Wannabe?
Koenigsberg, and
Wow.
I host a Cincinnati Bengals podcast.
Wow.
The year is 2024.
Okay.
So 2 years from now. 1 year from now.
Yes. The Bengals have signed Garrett Bowles to be their left tackle.
Weird situation since
I
they just
have
signed
invited
Orlando Brown.
Henry and Zach to come on my podcast. And I ask you guys, all right, it seems like the fans really didn't like Garrett Bowles, but from my perspective, it feels like maybe that was a little bit because he was drafted so high. Do you think that he's better than they gave him credit for?
Yeah, I think the fans definitely were harder on Garrett Bowles. Would I say the organization loved him? No. I would say that Garrett Bowles had one really good breakout year where he earned the contract that he got, but outside of that, he was kind of in between where the organization viewed him and where fans viewed him.
And without penalties, he's probably a Pro Bowler. With the penalties, which exist, he's not, and he's a liability. The penalties came up in big moments in big games, and so the Broncos aren't missing out on a Hall of Famer at this point.
All right. I like that. I like the way that turned out, and it's what I thought too. I think he was higher on McGlinchey
Yeah,
Oh.
definitely.
than we would be on Bowles.
I think it's the exact same.
Wow.
You guys were
Was
both
I-
pretty critical.
was I-
I don't
I
think
was
he
I
gonna
had-
said the
hope-
same thing he said. Like, I guess his was the sacks in big moments,
but
and
he
I had
said
the
the
penalties.
organization loved him and
Yeah.
wanted to
There
keep him
is that.
around.
Yeah.
There is that difference.
And see, you do understand with the $17.5 million is a ton of money to pay. And I like that I like what he said, because I had never thought about it the way he put it. He was a great number 2. But with your point of being a top 10 draft pick, people don't really want to view you as a 2. They think you should be Trent Brown.
Yeah.
You should be as good as Trent, or not Trent Brown. Trent.
Trent Williams.
Both
Trent
Trents are
Williams,
pretty
yes.
good.
No, I'm talking about Trent Williams, who set the bar. I mean, the best left tackle in the game. Mike McGlinchey, even drafted in the top 10, was realistically never going to be that. So that was probably also something that knocked him down in fans' eyes, was seeing elite play from Trent Williams and not getting it from him.
Yeah. Yeah. I think he was higher on McGlinchey, who really exists under very similar circumstances.
Yeah.
The only difference is Bowles was drafted a little bit later, and the Broncos have not been contenders for his entire career.
It's true.
They were, when they drafted him, they thought they were,
Right. Right.
Did.
but Trevor Siemian was their quarterback.
Trevor Siemian, as our great friend.
It's kind of like Brock Purdy.
Yeah. I mean, we're going to have to see
Yeah,
where Brock
not as
Purdy
good.
goes.
Yeah.
But I just mean like unheralded draft prospect who takes over a championship organization.
Yeah, speaking of Trevor Siemian, our good friend Brandon Perna today said Trevor Siemian has 13 wins as a starter for the Broncos. Paxton Lynch, Drew Lock, and Russell Wilson have combined for 13 wins
God damn
as
it.
starters for the Broncos. This is simply a Siemian Toast Crunch appreciation tweet, and
Wow.
I couldn't agree with it more. I couldn't like it more.
Wow, I couldn't hate it more.
Well, that's very true. Yeah, I mean, the fact that Russell Wilson's thrown in there too makes it even tougher.
That hurts.
You hope that changes week 1.
You do.
Yes,
you really do.
You really do. Speaking of week 1, when are we going to find out the schedule? Right after the draft?
About a month. Yep. Early May is my understanding.
I'm
Feels
excited
like
for
that's
that.
what it usually is. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that is definitely when it usually is.
Except it used to be before the draft.
Really?
As of like 3 years ago.
Huh.
And
Not
then
2020.
So 2019.
Really?
I think was the last
Oh, the
time.
last year, okay.
Yeah, that it was before the draft. And then the NFL decided, wait. Don't we want to know who the number 1 pick is going to be and see if that's like a good person to have on prime time? Let's have it after the draft. Makes sense.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Smart thinking.
Wait till like teams are put together.
Yep.
Yeah.
Anything else on Mike McGlinchey?
You know, I don't think so, but I feel good about where the Broncos are with that position. They paid a lot, but it's not like any of the other contracts that they've paid in the past where they're like, oh, that's a pretty good contract for a Donald Stevenson, for a Juwan James. They're actually getting a reliable player outside of the one time that he had a major injury, one time, which is key. He's not injury prone. And then you're also getting someone that's just going to be very, very, very consistent. And again, I like what he said about he's a really, really good number 2.
Yeah. And adored in the locker room.
Yeah.
And I think that's an important thing. That's a big thing. Is people really like him.
My heart
Yeah.
just stopped. I thought
Oh,
it was
no.
a car accident, but I think it was actually just a chair falling or something.
Yeah, sometimes the chairs fall off the tables. It's a bug of stacking the chairs on the tables.
Is
I don't
it
get why that happens.
is it ghosts?
Could be. Could
I
also be
wish.
like there's a major road right here, so like the ground's always vibrating a little bit.
They're legitimate. When I heard that, I looked out and there was a semi driving by.
Oh,
so
God.
like maybe it was
Yeah.
a big
The
car
semi shook the
shaking
ground
things.
and shook it off there.
Yeah. I don't know. Giving that much money to an average tackle, it's not a good investment, I don't think. But I think where the Broncos were, they didn't really have a choice.
What about so is a really good number 2 tackle average in your mind?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like that's about average. Yeah.
Man, I view him as just a right tackle, and I view him as like a really good right tackle.
Yeah.
I think he should be a top 10 right tackle.
I don't know.
And if he's not top 10, then Henry, I agree with you.
Yeah.
If he's truly just an average right tackle, then yeah, I think regardless they overpaid, but they had to solidify that position.
when you're spending money, it's just nice to say, like, either we're spending $5 million at this position or spending top of the line money because we're getting a great player. But when you're giving out, I mean, close to $20 million a year for somebody who you don't expect to make a Pro Bowl, that's just a lot of money that kind of puts you in that in-between range.
Okay,
you know?
one of the things that Matt said that I wasn't necessarily expecting, and I want to see if it changes the way you felt at all, was he said that the 49ers kind of got him to his peak at the very end, and now the Broncos are going to kind of
Reap the benefits.
reap
You
all
hope
of
so.
the benefits of that. So maybe he actually can be a Pro Bowler.
Yeah.
Did you buy into that or not really?
Pro Bowl's probably a stretch, but I mean, we should expect him to be better. You know, we knew he was coming off the major injury, that he had to rehab that, didn't get any work in the offseason. And so you do expect him to be better this year than last year. But I just don't. There's 3 right tackles to make the Pro Bowl. That's asking quite a bit. And you hope it happens and you hope he's still improving, but I can't expect it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Think with
Where, I know this is hard to do off the top of your head, but where would you rank him in terms
Wow.
of right tackles?
really quick right now, I'll ask you: is he better than
Wow.
Juwan Taylor and Caleb McGarry?
They're all right there. They're all right there.
And we can go back through the note. I had him as my number 1 right tackle.
Yep. I had McGarry over him just because of the way I thought he fit this scheme.
Yeah.
Fair.
But I think they're all in the same category.
And they're all good.
Yeah.
They're all getting paid like that, and McGlinchey's certainly getting paid like it a ton.
Yeah, for sure. It's going to be fun. I'm excited for this offensive line. I can't believe I'm saying that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Definitely excited.
Which is a good thing, and especially when he talks about what Mike McGlinchey's good at. We know, but it's run blocking, and the Broncos with Sean Payton, at least this year, they're going to want to run block so much and just run the hell out of the football, and so at least they're pairing him up with his strengths.
Absolutely. I just want them to have a better running back.
Yep, me too. Maybe in 2 weeks from today, 2 weeks from tomorrow, they'll draft a running back.
That is crazy.
Yeah, it really is. Doesn't it
Madden?
not feel like draft season?
No,
Yeah.
it's just because the Broncos traded away all their picks,
Yep.
and we don't get to participate in all the fun discussions about first round draft
Yep.
picks.
Kind of wild that the 49ers don't have a pick until after the Broncos.
Well after the Broncos.
Yeah,
The Broncos picked
99.
2 times
They
30
have-
picks before they picked.
Yes.
Don't they have like a crazy number of picks?
They do. They have 10.
Yeah.
I think the Broncos had 5 draft picks this year.
Yep.
The 49ers got 5 compensatory picks this year.
Yeah. It
Which
is
is
crazy.
insane.
And for what it's worth, Madden has McGlinchey as the 11th right tackle,
Oh.
which is kind of what we were talking about. Is he
Yeah.
top 10?
Yeah, borderline right
Say
there.
Madden, you get me all geared up.
Before you play your game, Ryan, you're going to have to check out our friends over at Shady Rays, because if you win the Super Bowl, you're going to Disneyland, right?
Oh,
and
yeah.
that means the sun's going to be out. You're going to want your Shady Rays, and especially with all the celebration, you might lose a pair of
they
your
have
glasses.
I was gonna say, do they have ski goggles for like the champagne showers?
Yeah,
after the
I
game?
believe they do.
Oh,
yeah, so
wow,
you can
yeah.
check out Shady Rays. They do. In fact, you can see them right here on the screen.
I'm gonna need those.
Oh man, those are sharp.
Those are sick.
Yeah, you're gonna need those, and you
Wow.
can get those and a pair of sunglasses for 50% off by using the code DNVR over at Shady Rays, where they're going to hook you up with that 50% off when you get 2 pairs of sunglasses. Shady Rays are great. Of course, for ski season, you might want to check out their goggles. Maybe they've got stuff going on sale at the end of ski season now. Get some for next season. And you can return or exchange them for free within 30 days of purchase, so they're guaranteeing that you're going to like them. So check them out. Use that promo code DNVR over at Shady Rays.
And if you're too close to Ryan when he starts spraying the champagn, get you in the eye, call Backus and Shanker and send Ryan to jail.
Wow.
Well, then you're not an
You
attorney.
probably want to call 911 if you want me to go to jail.
Call Backus and Shanker. They'll make it happen. Also, I've been watching Breaking Bad or going back through it.
Yep.
I love Saul. Every time Saul comes up, I just think of Backus and Shanker. And it's like, oh, I wonder if...
I don't think that's a comp that they would want.
I know. Well, maybe not.
He does get shit done.
Exactly. And like the personal injury attorneys, and then Saul has all of his other stuff behind the scenes, but does make you wonder, if you're a criminal, should you call Backus and Shanker to like help work your...
This is a
Business.
terrible ad read.
Well, that's a shame. Well, regardless of whether you're a criminal or not, if you get hit by a bus or hit by a car or a motorcycle or a scooter or a truck, then call them because they will help compensate you. They won't charge you until they win your case. So you can call 222-2222 for a free consultation, work their case all the way through. If you win, when you win, they'll get you your money and they'll take a cut of it. Call 222-2222 to find out if you have a case for free.
All right, guys. Shall we dive into our draft preview and jump in to a big boy today?
Oh, that's right. Oh, sorry, we gotta get going. Steve Avila. So he's the TCU center.
Yep.
Big
Guard.
boy. Yeah, played. I guess he was guard this year, wasn't he?
Yep.
So
center the year before, guard last year.
And so the reason was they brought a guy in from the portal who was a center, and they knew Steve could play either, so they bumped him outside. He is very big, very strong.
Yep.
I think that's obviously what stands out when you see 6'3", 332 right there. Because of that, what is he not good at? Moving, because he's massive. So I think that the easy way to look at it is, if you're looking for an upgrade over Lloyd Cushenberry, again, Lloyd doesn't let anybody get by him. He just gets pushed backward. Well, Steve Avila, he just doesn't get pushed backward. And so I think right there you say there's that, and he gets you more push in the running game. So I do think he'd probably be a pretty immediate upgrade.
Oh, I think he'd be immediate upgrade and a fantastic pick for the Broncos if he's there at 67 or 68. He could go earlier. He may be there. That could be the sweet spot. But this would be such a good pick for the Broncos if they feel like he can play center. Like we said, 2 years ago, he was TCU's full-time starting center. Like Henry said, they brought someone else in from the transfer portal that was specifically a center, so he played guard. Steve obviously showed that versatility to be able to do both. You're not drafting a guy in the third round to come in and back up Ben Powers, to back up Quinn Minor, so that wouldn't make sense if you bring him to be a guard. But if you think he can be the center, oh man, I love this. So you really have to just determine if he has the mental capabilities to transfer over to the NFL level. That's really hard to tell by watching college tape and by projecting. That's the work of George Payton to do. But he's a guy where he didn't give up a single sack last year. In TCU, they played some pretty good teams last year. I mean, they started off with the 1-11 CU Buffs.
They drop back a lot.
Yeah, it's very true. So they drop back a lot. And I'm impressed with his ability to be a run blocker and a pass blocker, really at the line of scrimmage. I think where his agility and his size kind of hurt him is when he's getting to the second level. It's tough for 332 pounds at running over a 5'140" to get to linebackers and be able to chase him down. But I actually think he has no issue in either of those. I think he's really good at the line of scrimmage. So that would just be on Sean Payton. Don't call plays where you expect Steve to consistently get up to the second level and be blocking linebackers.
Two big takes on Steve Avila for me. One, my favorite part of this draft season is seeing TCU prospects.
What's
Because
up?
it means they won't be on the field against the Buffs next year.
It's very true.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like, everyone's like, that's a national championship team versus a 1-11 team. Both teams are going to be completely and utterly different. They have I think they had 13 guys at the combine.
Wow.
That's a lot of guys.
I mean, if I went to TCU, Sonny Dykes is a fantastic coach, so I wouldn't be concerned of staying at TCU. But you just got to the mountaintop. Like your stock as a team isn't going to be any higher than it is. So if you can get drafted, go get drafted.
Absolutely. Other thing, as you know, I got to bring up RAS.
Duggan's still there, right?
No.
He's gone.
Yep.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
Well, never mind. They might suck.
I know. They were 5-7 the year before.
Sonny
One,
Dykes
one little
is,
spike.
Sonny Dykes is so good though.
Duggan's in the draft.
How good is he?
Everywhere he's gone, he's won. I think that first year when they were 5-7, he took over the
Pretty
team
sure
when
he
they were
went to Cal and failed.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought he was a guy that everywhere he's been really good.
I don't think so.
Oh.
Anyways, he's been solid. But 8.46 RAS for our guy Steve Avila. And remember, what relative athletic score means is how athletic are you relative to how big are you.
Right.
He's huge, obviously, but it's nice to see that he is also in the very upper tier of athletes that are that size. You mentioned the 5'2", 140-yard dash, but and that's like a little above average for guys his size, but the 20-yard split on that is 2.97, which is way up there.
Yeah.
So he's hopefully never running 40 yards in a straight line on one play.
And kind of what I'm saying is he can do everything you want around the line of scrimmage, but when you ask him to do things further away, then that's when that 40 time kicks in.
Yep, absolutely. The only spot where he was really bad in terms of his testing was broad jump, which again, what is it? It's a little bit about explosiveness,
Yep.
but how far could a guy that big really jump?
Yep.
Yeah, it doesn't bother me. That doesn't. I would like to see that on tape though. 332 pounds, broad jump, 5 inches.
The one that just blows my mind every time I see it is Cam Newton's broad jump.
What was it?
Absurd. I don't know. He flies in the air for a while and then lands. It's insane.
Well, he would like to be on a team.
Yeah.
would.
Backup third string for the Broncos. Yeah, no, thank you.
It's just drama.
Yeah.
No, don't touch drama at quarterback. You have enough.
It's very true. And also another thing, kind of an intangible with Steve, a captain at TCU, so well loved by the coaches, by the by the staff, and by his teammates. We just talk about Mike McGlinchey bringing a great room or bringing a great person into that offensive line room. Just add another guy that can be there for a long time.
And speaking of being loved by the staff, who is on the staff but Sean Payton's son?
That's very true.
That's true.
You can't overlook that connection.
No. Anything else, Henry?
I don't think so.
You looked like you were about to say something.
So
No.
I said that I would love this pick. And if this is the Broncos' first pick in the draft, first pick in the draft at 67, I would absolutely love it. Not only do I think he's a really good player who could come in and be a day one starter, but also just a position of need. If you think he can play center, it would just be a home run pick, in my opinion. What do you guys think?
I would love it too. I mean, I want to see them address center very quickly. First pick, second pick, third pick in the draft. The longer you wait, the lower your chance goes of hitting. And I would love to see them hit at center. And if they drafted this guy and he balls out in camp, we are talking about the Broncos potentially having a top 5 offensive line in the NFL.
It's true.
And Powers, Avila, Minards on the inside. That's pretty crazy.
Yes.
That is pretty
So much
crazy.
beef.
Yeah, it's a very beefy group. Yeah, I think this might be best case scenario for that first third round pick. You could probably split hairs about which center. I really like Steve Avila. I haven't dug too deep yet into the others, but just the size and strength and all that, and production and experience, I think he's probably perfect scenario for me.
Between Quinn Minards and Steve Avila, if they're next to each other, that's almost 700 pounds right there. So talk about just a double team that would kill a defensive lineman. You have no chance, and pairing those two together would be so fun. And then those aren't even the best interior guys. The best is Ben Powers.
Yeah, for sure. It's exciting. I've never gotten excited over center
It's
before,
very.
but I think I'm excited. Interesting question here from Rickard, who says, for what position is the broad jump relevant? A couple different places. I think the number one would be edge. because explosiveness is the most important there. I think it's also notable for wide receiver.
Yeah.
Where the same thing, it's how fast can you burst? You can learn a little bit of that by how far someone can, explode from a flat-footed position.
Yeah, it's a good point.
Yep.
You said corners as well, Henry?
Oh, yeah. Just anything where you want explosive lower halves.
Yeah. Corner a little less so, though, because they're starting backwards.
Explosive.
But then when they break,
Yes.
going forward.
True.
Explosively.
All this draft talk, you can get in on the action over at DraftKings Sportsbook. They're starting to throw even more props out for the draft. And I got to say, these past few years, since I started covering the Broncos, haven't been able to really get into these as much because just too focused on the Broncos. But Broncos not having a pick, I'm going to have to get in on these first round things. How many quarterbacks are going in the first round? Draft position for X player. Is he going here? Is he going there? You can get in on all of that over at DraftKings Sportsbook. And you can also do it with bonus bets. If you place a $5 bet on any NBA team and they win, you get $150 in bonus bets when you sign up. And no better time to get in than right now, when then you can use those bonus bets not only on the draft, but you can use it on the Nuggets Sunday night. You can use it on the Avs as they enter into the playoffs. DraftKings is the place to be right now. So check them out. Use that promo code DNVR when you sign up to get $150 in bonus bets by placing that $5 pregame moneyline bet on an NBA game. Check them out. And of course, if you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-522-4700. In Massachusetts, call 800-327-5050. If there's a gambling helpline, ma.org. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. In Kansas, call 1-800-522-4700. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, 21 plus in most eligible states, but age varies by jurisdiction. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details and state-specific responsibly gambling resources. You still haven't talked to the right people, Ryan. I still got to read it.
I'm trying. Shout out Boot Hill.
Questions.
Yeah. What do we got? Yeah.
People probably have some questions over that description.
Probably. I have many.
Should I put a massive bet in on the Avs minus 280 tonight?
No.
But Winnipeg's not playing anybody. Like that goalie who's like the best goalie isn't playing.
What's at stake for the Avs?
First in the Central.
But
And they control
would
their
they
own
lose
destiny.
it if they lose?
2 games left. They would lose control of their own destiny.
Yeah.
No, but would they? How many games are they up on it?
They're like 1 point up.
Yep.
But they control
With 2
their
to
own
play.
destiny. So if they lose, they do lose their own destiny.
Okay.
Controlling
Yeah,
their own
you
destiny.
should.
I think I should.
Man, I don't know. I did one where it was the odds were even way worse, like minus 500, and did that because I was like, this is absolutely happening. And it didn't. And I promised myself that I was never going to be chasing those terrible odds again.
So I don't like doing the big minus bets in what I call like one bounce sports, meaning one bounce can change the entire game.
It's true.
Like if it was a dominant football team against a weaker football team, it's not really like if Alabama on the first play of the game gets a tipped ball and it gets intercepted, like they're still going to crush them.
Right.
But sometimes in hockey, you get a deflection off a skate, you go up 1-0, you pack it in a little bit on defense, they overcommit, now it's 2-0. Like those games can change so much easier.
It's a good point.
Yeah. Maybe I'll split it between the minus 280 and the minus 175 60-minute line.
What's minus 1.5?
Plus 100.
Yeah, that's more my speed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
I agree. You put less on that.
Yeah, and then you get an empty netter at the end.
Yeah. And then you feel good.
Or they win and you lose. That's
true.
why I don't bet
That's
spreads
a
with any
tough
of like
one. Yep.
the Nuggets or the Avs or anything.
Yeah,
Smart.
it's really true.
Smart. All right, nothing from the comment section. So what do we have on the website?
The Count says many have forgotten about the Brian Greasy era. In particular, few fans seem ever to mention the quizzical yet victorious performance in the October 7th, 2001 game versus Hanks's Chiefs when he went 11 for 20 with 1 touchdown and 1 pick, and yet the Broncos won 20-6. His performance is overshadowed by, of course, a cornerback that picked off Trent Green 4 times.
South
Can you
O'Neal.
name? Oh, okay, ruined it there. And an RB toting the rock for 155 yards and a touchdown. Can you name him RK?
Okay,
But I'm going to change this to Hank since you named Delta.
So it's 155 and a tud. And did he say the year?
2001, October 7th, against Hank's Chiefs.
Wow. I don't even know.
2001.
Like Rod Smith?
No,
No,
rushing.
running back.
Oh, the
back.
running back. Oh, who ran it? Oh, shit. That'd be before Ron Dane, right?
Yes.
Like Olandis
Think more
Gary?
obvious.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Terrell Davis?
Yes.
Really?
I would think so, yeah. He says, these odd games would taste like candy now after the last
Mike
half
Anderson is a good
decade
one, yeah.
of Broncos bitterness. Wouldn't they love the count? Yeah, you give me Russell Wilson going 11 for 20 with 1 touchdown, 1 pick, but it's a 20-6 win over the Chiefs. I will take that all day.
Yeah.
Wait, what word did I... How did I say
Quizzical.
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 I knew I said it wrong
Yeah, yeah.
when you guys were laughing.
Oh man, I can't find that box score. Oh, here we go.
Brian Griese was 4-9 his first year as a starter, 7-3, 8-7, 8-5.
Wow.
Solid.
He is really overlooked.
Yeah, it's just right after Elway, so
It was
solid
Mike
means
Anderson.
nothing.
Right after, it was Mike Anderson.
Mike Anderson,
Wow.
yeah, 62-yard run in the game,
That's a
22
good-
carries,
yeah.
155 yards.
Dang.
So that's post TD, huh? Already?
Was TD
Or
done in
maybe- He
2000,
He
or was that
wasn't-
just when he was
Could
hurt?
have been when he was hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Orlandis Gary also had 9 carries for 28 yards.
Man. So
Wow.
over 30 rushing
I
attempts.
loved that 1-2 punch.
Yep. Yeah. It
In
was fun.
2000,
Priest Holmes, 17 carries for 42 yards. Clamps.
Dang. That's like the Broncos going up against Derrick Henry now.
Yep. Or Ezekiel Elliott.
Yeah, it's very true. Zeke's still looking for a job.
Center?
Oh,
Wow.
man. No, bad film. Bad tape on
wow.
him.
In 2000, Brian Griese was 25, had a 7-3 record, 102.9 passer rating, best in the NFL.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like, for the whole season?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Broncos were 7-3 in the games he started.
Dang. That's
what
wild.
else happened in that season?
I don't know.
Is that like the Gus Farrat
Brian Griese
is
went to a
starting
Pro
game
Bowl.
season,
Yeah, I don't
think?
know.
Dang, went to a Pro Bowl too. Things were looking up.
Let's see.
As Henry looks that up, next one coming in from Casper says, fellas, I think it would be fun to do another fan voting bracket, but with a 98 Super Bowl team. You could have Elway, TD, Sharp, and Atwater be your 4 number 1 seeds since they are all Hall of Fame, and do the top 16 or even top 32 players to see who would win. How say you?
Maybe next March?
Yeah,
Sure.
I like that.
Oh no, we were gonna do the 64 team bracket next year.
64 is going to be sick.
Maybe we do
be so
maybe we
good.
do that this summer when things get a little
Why not?
calm. Do a little throwback.
I mean,
one.
Elway still wins.
I was gonna say,
Yeah.
with the conversation we had, you got a Hall of Fame quarterback. He's gonna win, right?
They might give it to TD. Honestly,
You
John
think
Elway
the,
doesn't.
The end of the GM
Yeah.
thing was enough to no.
And I think there's so much fighting on Twitter, like all the, the
I think John
nerd
Elway's-
guys who say like, "Oh, look at his numbers, he's not good." Blah blah blah. More interceptions, whatever.
I think John Elway still wins a bracket of best athlete in Denver sports history.
Yeah, definitely.
How can he?
So
That's 98 season.
So who would
Okay,
Yeah.
the number 1 seeds be in all of Denver? If you had 4 number 1 seeds, it'd be Elway,
Elway.
Sakic,
Sakic for sure.
Jokic,
Joker. Yep.
Joker.
Yeah, it has to be from.
Are we
mean,
doing
if
one
you-
from each team?
Yeah, let's
if
do
you
one.
were
Let's
to-
do one from
Helton.
each team, and then Todd.
Yeah.
Or you could go Larry. Larry is
Yeah.
in the Hall of Fame.
That's true.
But for me, it was always Todd.
Yeah, man, and it would have easily been Nolan. If they
Eventually,
Easily,
yeah.
hadn't
yeah.
let him go. Damn.
Man,
Easily.
that's an,
Wait, so who would it be if it was just the top 4? You didn't have
so
to
this
take
is
one
the
from
Mount
each team.
Rushmore.
Yep.
This is always hard for me.
John, obviously.
John is
Patrick
guaranteed to be in.
guaranteed 1. Sakic has to be guaranteed 2.
And then you get in this weird thing like,
Yeah.
does a Nugget or a Rocky deserve to be on it with no championships?
Like Patrick Waugh.
With-
So I
with-
would say TD and Patrick Waugh is
Yeah,
what
that's
I would
probably
do.
it.
Oh, so no one else has 2 MVPs
No,
in Colorado sports
No.
history.
no.
So you're leaving
No.
the 2 MVP.
Give me about a month and a half, and then I'll put him on there.
Do you
is
think he's
true.
going to win it again?
No, not
Oh,
MVP.
a month and a half until he is winning
Yeah,
championships.
it's probably longer than that. The NBA playoffs go forever.
They do.
Have you
I'm
given up
not
on
ready
MVP for him?
Yeah.
Damn.
It's the pity MVP. We
is.
had a feeling it was coming.
Yep.
All of the reporters are doing literal mental gymnastics to convince themselves why they should vote for Embiid, and it's over.
I wish that the number 2 seed in the West, whoever it was going to be, would have been better to push the Nuggets to try to win more.
Totally.
And then
That's what I said. I
and
tweeted
then-
it out. I was like, the only reason Nikola Jokic isn't winning most valuable player is because he was so valuable for the first 2/3 of the season that he didn't have to try the last third of the
I
season.
mean,
Final third
it's
didn't
really
matter.
true. And honestly, if the last month of the season would have played out the way it did, with the Nuggets having something to play for, then it would have been like, okay, well, Jokic kind
They
of fell
fumbled the
off.
bag, yeah.
But he probably wouldn't have, as what
No.
history tells us. When they've had to play this year, he's been fantastic. So that's a bummer that there wasn't a better 2 seed.
Last Nuggets question: who do you want, OKC or Minnesota?
I think OKC.
They're the 10 seed, right?
Like, they're
You
not-
lean the 10 seed.
Shea always cooks the Nuggets, but they have nothing else.
They're young talent, though. What if they're just kind of young and naive? That's the only thing that scares me.
Yeah.
I'm not actually scared of them, but they're just so young. What if they're just like, yeah, we don't even know what's happening.
I watched, was it Valanciunas?
Yeah.
Just go off on them
Yeah.
last night. Like, they have absolutely no one who could dream of covering Nikola Jokic.
Yeah.
It's
But that's
true.
where, like, that means they double. At least if you play Minnesota, you're not getting doubles. He's just going to put, like, 40 on Gobert.
Doubles should make everyone's life so easy.
True. But I don't know. If it just Joker shoots every time, I feel more confident in that than Joker gets open threes for people every time.
Yeah.
the
Minnesota just has, like, guys that are like, oh, those are guys.
They have names, yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm still kind of traumatized by that game 82 from like 2018 or whatever.
I am not, but
You're not?
No.
When Taj Gibson got away with literal murder.
Yeah.
But-
I mean, that sucked, but it doesn't make me feel anything about this.
But the
I know.
Timberwolves scare you more.
I just think they have, like, you could see Anthony Edwards going off for
Yeah.
40 in a game. Like,
They do
Karl
have some-
Anthony Towns
yeah.
could just be who he was supposed to be for a couple games.
Right,
Like,
right.
Yeah.
right.
whereas
The Nuggets would still be fine.
the OKC does have that young and naive, nothing to lose thing about them, but I just think, like, the Nuggets have so much more
better.
talent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah,
Either-
probably
yeah.
Minnesota. You don't want to play more.
But we're gonna beat both of them.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right.
Minnesota might steal a game.
Any other questions?
We do. We got one more from Nash Bronco, and this is one that we need to get to. He says, come to think of it, I guess the Broncos never respected Draymond Jones. Sense the sarcasm coming. They didn't draft him. They didn't refuse to trade him in the Russell Wilson deal. They didn't see his play production decline when Bradley Chubb was traded. They definitely didn't see the writing on the wall with his comments about wanting to get paid. Or did they?
I mean, the Draymond Jones thing is so dumb from his perspective.
So here's what he said this week. He had comments, about a month ago, that, what did they say? He was talking about how the Broncos just weren't always focused on football last year and things like that, kind of taking shots at the Broncos on his way out. And this week, when he was talking to Seattle media, he said that the Broncos didn't want to trade him last year, wouldn't trade him in the Russell Wilson deal. And he said, I mean, shit. They should have just traded me from the jump. Denver didn't pay me my proper respects, so I'm here because Seattle respected me from the jump.
Just don't talk about Denver.
The amount of times it just continues to get brought up. And look, he was asked a question, I'm sure, but you know how easy it would have been to say, Denver, I thank them for drafting me, bringing me into this league, and they gave me the opportunity to be in this position, to be a Seattle Seahawk now, and have a chance to win a championship with them or something. He could have said that.
And they clearly knew I was valuable. That's why they didn't want to trade me in the first place.
Right. Exactly.
I mean, he's playing to the fans, though. Like, those Seahawks fans don't like the Broncos.
Very
Like, there's
true.
no reason for him not to burn bridges here.
Yeah.
Like, what's the point of keeping them?
That all seems fine and good until a couple years down the road.
And then a Chiefs player goes on Twitter and is like, oh, now you're talking. And then he quote tweets that Chiefs player and says, I still hate KC and I still love Denver.
I know.
Yeah.
It's like,
I mean, because
sorry.
it's not like there were crazy shots that he was throwing.
No, it's
they're
just
pretty
this
minor.
petty, salty
Exactly.
bullshit that I'm just like, stop. Just
Yeah.
stop.
Move on. You're with Seattle.
Yep,
And
exactly.
Seattle fans want to hear people say bad things about the Broncos.
Good
He's
for them.
sold
I
a couple jerseys with that.
He probably has.
Yep.
All right. I think that's going to wrap it up for us today. Feels like Friday, but it's not. We'll be back tomorrow.
It's true.
And we'll talk to you guys then.